good time. It was good stuff.
Good. I'm glad, man.
Cool.
All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
All right.
Bring it.
There we go. Hello, welcome to Super Geeks. And again, we don't number them anymore, so I don't know what episode this is. It's just the episode we're on right now. And with us today, we have a special guest who used to be one of the guys that helped me found Super Geeks in the first place a couple years ago. My good friend Ross.
Hang on to your capes, ladies and gentlemen. You've just joined Super Geeks.
One of the OG Super Geeks. One of the OG. Carlos, first time I ever met Carlos, when I interviewed him about the Axe Monitor thing, Ross was with me and a couple other people when we interviewed him. That's how I got the whole history started there. So, welcome back, Ross. Welcome home.
Glad to be here for at least one night.
Exactly.
Wait. The logic there, the pure sentencing structure of English, and that makeup of that paragraph, George, was kind of amazing. The first time you met Carlos was when you were interviewing him for the thing.
What about it?
Like, okay, yeah, sure, exactly. That would be the first time you would meet him, right?
And where are you going with this?
Whatever the hell you just said was like redundant because redundant.
Have you met George?
Well, shall we continue with the introduction?
And not only that,
Properly chastised.
son, that was kind of a redundant chastising. It's not like we all haven't said that to him before.
Yeah, Ross and I had this one episode that never got aired where I got really, really drunk, believe it or not. And
surprise.
No, we're talking. Ross kept and Anthony, rest in peace. He was one of our other hosts, and
we're recording, right?
Yes, and he used to want to. They wanted me to air it. They wanted me to say, no, just it'll be like a blooper thing. I'm like, it was really bad because I kept repeating the topics over and over.
It's so bad.
Anyways, Ross he said, "This is your brain. This is your brain on George." And that was his little saying. So that was cool. All right. So anyways, and with me, as usual, is Raul. How are you, Raul?
I'm fine.
How are your dogs? They're back there, right?
They're sleeping because they are bored of me.
Well, let sleeping dogs lie, they say.
Let sleeping dogs lie. And then we have Sean. How you doing, Sean?
I'm good. I'm doing my Dean Martin routine tonight.
Mr. No Pants, according to the...
Didn't notice you guys. How'd you get in my room? That's where I'm at.
You say that a lot, though, Sean.
Yeah.
That's a very nice open-air room.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
It's a holiday.
The doghouse is back there somewhere for when his wife gets mad at him. And then
the doghouse is for the fucking ducks who won't use it.
Oh, yeah. And then we have Joe Diaz. How you doing, Joe?
5.9. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
Yeah, right to the point.
Is that your rating or your length?
I don't even know what it's about.
It's the overall rating of my week.
Oh, all right. Weekly.
Look. We can now see that Joe is white, so there's not a lot of.
Don't let the last name fool you, people. All right, and then we got Carlos Pedraza. How are you?
Ready for action.
You don't sound as a.
You followed that comment about penis. Ready for action.
And then
we're ready for action.
And then we have Sunsail. How you doing, son?
Hello, everyone.
Hold on.
Watch out.
He's breaking the phone.
There's some kind of microphone malfunction.
The ducks got his you-know-what. Yeah. That's why you should wear pants in the backyard.
That's why you should wear pants.
The ducks are taking over. Call the geese.
Really, the show is a cautionary tale about ducks and pants.
Yep.
Or
and average-sized cocks.
Okay, what?
Oh, my.
Raul, did you really have to go there? I guess you did.
You're the one telling me that?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, really, George.
All right. So, big news broke out this week. The title was revealed.
Like hives.
It was like...
Yeah, it kind of was.
It was pretty obvious, and it turned out to be the title. It was pretty simple. But I like the way they used the comm badge as part of the title, which is the Delta badge, which is Star Trek Picard. And, of course, they released promo images. And people are trying to analyze the uniforms they're seeing. Oh, no, it's Starfleet Academy, whatever. Let me start with Ross, since he's our guest. Ross, what did you think of all this news and what you saw for pictures?
So I'm excited to finally see something after months and months of buildup.
Right.
The title, it's simple, it's to the point. It works. I'm glad. Nothing too cryptic or mysterious about it. And as for the leaked images, it looks like a flashback scene.
It wasn't leaked. It was in Newsweek.
No,
Okay.
they
could have been leaked to Newsweek.
You're right. Those weren't official photographs.
Oh,
those were definitely leaked. They may have been strategically leaked, but
the one that focuses on Patrick
official.
Stewart and civvies, that's the official one.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The first
the others that had
were not official. You're right.
They're to me at least, they're clearly the Generations DS9 Voyager era uniforms. So I'm thinking that might be like a flashback.
Oh, I don't think
They're
that's
not, Ross. We actually
We've got other pictures.
They have the same color.
And
template.
actually, I want to actually, because I was kind of arguing with George about this. He's right. They are very similar to the Star Trek Online uniforms, which of course are very
similar. In fact,
And the comm badge.
Yeah,
The comm badge is
uniform.
the comm badges are from All Good Things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Now the old ones, the ones that for Voyager and everything, the DS9, they didn't have their own. They had a turtleneck, but the shoulders, that was it. It was like jumpsuit. These uniforms have a built-in collar that connects from.
That's right. They do. It's a high collar. Yeah.
It's a high collar, really similar to what you saw in the JJ.
And the rank pins are like down.
Or even I'll even point this. It's really similar to the Starfleet Academy uniforms.
Similar.
Yes, the high collar.
So it sounds like you're describing the uniform from the Countdown comics.
It is similar a little bit, not exactly, but a little bit. Yes. The only difference
I think it's influenced by all of those. One thing I did notice tonight as I was looking at those photographs again is if you look at the yoke of the uniform, there's actually, it comes to a point in the center.
It does. It actually, it's not straight across.
It's not straight across like
it angles down right in the middle. Right. Yeah, it does.
Yep.
That's
and that actually I think does come from Countdown.
Now,
yes.
Just so everybody knows, Alec Kurtzman was the person that wrote the Countdown comic book, working with JJ to tie that in for the other end of what happened with Spock.
It's supposed to be canon.
Yep.
It's supposed to be, and I think that they are acknowledging some of that. They may not come right out and point for point say this.
Well, this is
when the comics first came out. One of the big marketing things is that they were supposed to be canon. Everything that was released by IDW was supposed to be canon.
It was supposed to be, but I did some research on that, and it wasn't really confirmed.
Here's what it comes down to, though, is that at the end of the day, it's kind of like with the animated series, where it's not canon, but they're going to make several things.
They're
about
acknowledging
basically,
right?
They'll do whatever they want. For
In
right
Star
now,
Trek,
if they need to change it, they'll change it. Just
in Star Trek Into Darkness, they take Mudship, which is a direct tie-in to one of the comics where they encounter Harry Mudd. Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't meet Harry Mudd. They met his daughter.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Harriet Mudd.
And Captain Robert April.
Yep, in the comic.
Right.
Yeah,
and his wife, Sarah.
Yeah. Well, no, that you're thinking of yesteryear.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No, in the Countdown
to Darkness, you just see April.
Yeah, in the
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He went AWOL from the Enterprise to fight for
some aliens
that was fighting for its life against their counterparts that were being influenced by the Klingons. It was one big mess. Admiral Marcus was his first officer, and that was supposed to be the big tie-in.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's true.
Yeah.
Now that's a JJ universe. We don't know if that's true in the Prime, but whatever. Because we don't even know what's going on with Admiral Marcus in the Prime universe either.
If there even is an Admiral Marcus in Prime,
I'm sure there is, but it's just whether he was Section 31. He probably was. But maybe he'll be in the Section 131 series. We'll see. So yeah, the uniforms definitely. A lot of people kept saying it's Starfleet Academy. It's not, and you know why? There's real simple one-shot proof of a picture that shows that he's not at Starfleet Academy. I thought at first it might be true because maybe he's lecturing at Starfleet Academy, but there's a shot where he's coming. The building where he's at is called Anaheim Convention.
Well, it's the Anaheim Convention Center.
That's the
Anaheim
Anaheim
Convention
Convention
Center.
Center.
Yeah,
That's not
right.
in shot, George.
Right, that's
where
not
that's where they're
But I
filming.
mean, it shows it's not at Starfleet Academy. Is what
It doesn't necessarily mean
George,
that because
that
Starfleet,
could be Starfleet
right?
Academy. They're not going to show the words Anaheim Convention Center on it.
Right, because
that's a real place in the 21st century.
You're right, exactly. Here's the thing: Starfleet Academy is what, a water treatment facility.
Water treatment facility.
Right. So, I mean, you just got to look at it from.
So maybe it is luxury.
It very well may.
Wasn't Camp Kittimer as well the building they used?
In the Camp Kittimer.
Also the command center for Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Very handy.
I never knew that.
In the picture where Picard is staring at the screen and you see people walking in the background, even in the courtyard, there's people that are wearing like medical coats.
Sure, it could be
So
Starfleet Medical.
I think it's at a medical facility that he's at.
Oh,
Very
maybe
well could be.
Into his fate in
Remember
Generation.
the deteriorating disease that he had been diagnosed with in All Good Things? Maybe
He wasn't really that. You got to discount the
you can't
the Q
that's going to happen
right?
because the whole timeline changed.
Well, they did. Beverly did say that the potential for that illness was there in
Ironic syndrome. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Ironic syndrome. It's
really fucked up.
It was a
that I
plot
know
device for the finale of the series.
I'm still here. I'm just going off camera for a
It
second.
does make sense for it to be a thing in this series.
maybe not a thing, but maybe just as a callback, an acknowledgement that that part of his future was a possibility.
I don't think so. He's not interested in any kind of TNG redux.
What I would say though is
that's a good point.
One of the things that caught my attention about the use of the convention center, the exterior of the convention center, and they probably filmed some inside as well. I really like the fact that this may sound dumb, but I love when shows set in the future use contemporary films, places to film, and just, they'll either CGI them up or whatever, dress them up to make them look like they're in the future. Because here's the thing, it's a hell of a lot cheaper for them to film at the LA or the Anaheim Convention Center than it is to build a massive set for maybe something that's one or two scenes. And I kind of dig that, because that shows that it's that, I don't know how I put this, that it seems like they're being very efficient with their budget so far. So that's a good thing to me. I think, so, I'm on board with that. And they have shown that they're good at doing it. So,
dressing up buildings like that, Star Trek and other shows have been doing that since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Right, but when you look at it, like, for example, if we look at Discovery is almost entirely set pieces built, and it's a massive, huge production. And I kind of like the fact that this kind of seems like it's going to be a big show, but that it's not going to be like a Discovery type feature film type show, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's
says it all.
To be, yeah, I mean, it's intended to be a much more grounded and organic show. I mean,
personal.
Discovery is a shipboard show, and so it's going to be on board a ship. It's going to be in space. None of those things look like a planet, and I think a significant part of Picard is going to involve him being on planets, and so you'll see, real locations as opposed to things created, in post-production.
Which I like.
Raul, what do you think of Picard's situation?
I can't wait to see the effects, but I think a much more personal show is actually what the brand needs. Something to really personalize the experience for new and old fans.
Yeah, I think it makes it more accessible. Is what I think it does.
It does.
I mean, look, as well done as I think they've done a job with making Discovery accessible to a broader audience. There's always new ways to make it even more accessible. Making a more personal show about focused on a single character, I think does this, especially a character that's got the prestige of Picard and Patrick Stewart playing it.
I agree with that.
That's actually my point. What I was going to say, exactly your words, Mr. No Pants. But that having a character that is so well played by such a master thespian. He basically elevates the entire show up to a level we haven't seen before.
Yeah. We do know that he has a supporting cast. We have yet to see them in their characters. Like some of those actors could be in makeup as aliens. We don't know that they announced. You know what I mean? Like we don't know what race they're playing. They might not be just human.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I think there's a lot of potential there. What do you think, Son?
I am just waiting for the surprise twist that Picard has actually seen his mother outside of that one Traveler episode, and that's the start of all of this.
Okay.
See, the only one who gets it is Ross.
I don't get it.
Okay. You remember the Traveler episode, the first Traveler episode.
Yeah, this is first season, right?
Drinking tea.
When he is in that hallway and he meets his mom.
Picard?
She's sitting there at the table with tea.
Right.
I bet it's Earl Grey.
I bet it's hot.
It was rum.
Considering the trauma he's gone through of losing his brother, losing his nephew, and losing the family chain, that all of this stuff, having seen his mother because of the Traveler, even though he's not sure if it's his mother or not.
Right.
Yeah, there's some crazy shit going on in Picard's brain right now. Also, having been assimilated.
Do we think?
Come on.
Do we think he's gonna?
I like where you're going because I like the obscure reference, and but what we do know about the series is that it focuses on Picard's reaction to the destruction of Romulus, and I'm not really sure how your theory would play into that. So,
you know, Sean, you just inspired me to light bulb. So we know so far. Here are the clues that Kurtzman's actually using Countdown as possibly a lot more than just a visual thing. He did write that story, and it was about Picard working with Spock to try to get the Vulcan Council to allow the red matter to be used to save Romulus. And they had to fight with them. And that's why Nero became so pissed off at the Vulcans, because they kept delivering.
Radicalized.
They wanted to let them die. And Picard was trying to work with Spock to help them out and to get things moving, but it was too late. So, because Nero and Picard actually became good friends during the Countdown comic. And Q was even involved up until
Q wasn't involved.
Oh no, that was a different story. You're right. Because he told Spock what happened to Spock. That was a different story.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'm wondering, like, so we know they're tying in the fallout, what happened with the Hobus star system, the destruction of the Romulan Empire. So, and then we already see the visual cues about the uniforms. So I think because Kurtzman is the showrunner, it's pretty fair to say we're seeing a lot of evidence that
he's not the head writer.
Right, and that's
not the head writer, but he's the creator, he's the director.
Yeah, but George, I just don't see this.
I agree with Carlos.
I'm not saying the entire thing is going to be based off Countdown.
I think you're seeing some visual flourishes that establish some continuity, and that's probably about it. We do know, I mean, other than the Romulan parts, because we already know that it's going to have something to do with the aftermath of that, but it's 20 years later. So, you're going to see a lot of callbacks.
I don't expect them to do anything where people are going to go, oh, I remember this from Countdown. I just don't remember. I don't see that happening at all.
You have to have read Countdown first.
Well, they're not going to behold it to Countdown because they know.
But I don't think the story is going to be anything to do with it, because primarily because what Carlos said before is that Stewart does not want to rehash anything. He wants an original story.
Right. That's true.
Here's a question.
Well, see, here's the tie-in though.
All
right, well, hold on, Ross wanted to. What were we saying, Ross?
So here's the question for you guys, though. So we've seen glimpses of the uniform. They're vaguely reminiscent of both the Countdown uniform and the Sierra from Star Trek Online.
Yeah.
So do you think there might be maybe not a direct reference, but maybe an Easter egg here and there for the events of Star Trek?
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing that will influence the story, because I agree with you guys that they're not going to take a comic book and assume everybody read it and make that a huge thing. I'm just saying he's inspiring himself by what he did as a storyteller in that.
I'm sure I'm sure there will be callbacks, but I doubt it's going to be anything that's really that germane to the plot.
Here's the tie-in. So, like I said, Picard's been going through all of this crazy shit when he was the captain, right? And then as an ambassador, he was trying to help get the red matter to save the Romulans, right?
Well, and to get the Federation in general to intervene.
Right. Well, now you have this personal loss of Picard, like one after the other, and then him feeling the guilt of a near genocide of an entire peoples.
Which is annoying to me. It's like with the Klingon thing in Star Trek 6. They have colonized and spread out across the stars. Why is their destruction of their homeworld mean that it's like with Star Trek JJ? It's like, the whole gets destroyed.
It's the destruction of their capital. It's the destruction of their cultural home. The species isn't
but still,
endangered.
They shouldn't be like looking at it like.
Look at it from the perspective. What if it was? What if it's okay? What if you look at the perspective of the Federation? What if it was Earth that was destroyed? Think about that.
Humanity wouldn't cease to exist.
But it would be.
We have colonies everywhere, even in Star Trek.
But still, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think it would be. I don't see the parallel there.
You're talking about the cultural and spiritual home of an entire
exactly. Yeah, but it does though. I mean.
And we also know that the extent of the supernova went beyond.
Man, that's true.
The Romulan star.
Yeah, it was like a beyond physics.
Let's draw a contemporary comparison then. What if a nuke went off in Washington, D.C., Moscow, and almost any other capital of a major power on the planet?
Right.
It would be devastating.
Or King's Landing.
I haven't seen it.
I'm just saying.
I don't think it's the same.
I know, I'm joking.
I agree with you.
But think about that impact to that country. It would be culturally devastating.
That's true.
It wouldn't destroy the country. It
would be a moral
cultural outright, but the
it would definitely throw the country into chaos.
Yeah, the power vacuum alone would be bad enough.
It would be like Jerusalem
in a society like the Romulans, who is so very centralized. The power is centralized on Romulus.
Yeah,
You're
that's
talking
true.
about the Romulan Senate, the Tal Shiar. Their entire government infrastructure seems centered on Romulus.
No, you know what? You're right, because I've been recently watching HBO's Rome because I am currently on the trial for HBO, and I love that show. But
outstanding series.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're right, because if Rome had been conquered, like no matter how much they spread out, if the center is taken over, it destroys everything else. Doesn't matter.
I mean, right? You can't. I've heard other people make the same observation about the fact that it's a massive star empire. What does it matter? But the thing about it, you can't just simply dismiss it like that.
You're right.
It's much more than that.
I'm sorry.
But you also have to remember, when people make this argument, when people, not just an argument, when people have this discussion, they always go straight to the Romulus blew up. No, Hobus blew up. It was a massive explosion that fettered outward, and Romulus was just the first planet in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure half the Romulan Empire just suddenly blew up with Hobus.
I don't think we're going to be revisiting a lot about the Nova. Right. I think what we're going to come into is we're 20 years into the aftermath.
It should technically be
10,
longer.
10 years, right?
No, 20. You know what's funny?
No, 20. No,
they said 20.
20 after Nemesis, right?
20 after Nemesis. Oh, yeah, you're right.
10 after Hobart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, because Star Trek Online is 30 years, starts 30 years later.
Anyway, the point is, this is not about rehashing what happened.
Right, agreed.
Or the Countdown comics. The mise en scène is going to be the aftermath. It's going to be where Romulans are at that point, and how the power structure in the galaxy has changed because of that, and what role Picard is going to be playing in that aftermath, and that's what it's going to be about. So to go on and on about what path did the Hobus supernova take is really irrelevant.
Yeah, you're right, and we haven't seen enough information for people to just really. I mean, they've given us a little bit here, a little bit there about information. We really don't know yet. I mean, we see Picard in civilian clothes. He could be doing just about anything in those photos. He could be lecturing at the academy in that scene. He could be just visiting somebody.
And you also can't assume that's not a flashback. That could be a flashback.
Could be. Do we know what the budget is for each episode and how many episodes are in the first season?
Well,
we know there are 10 episodes.
10 episodes,
3 seasons, and that's it.
Wait, I don't understand. I did not hear. You mentioned this before, George. I did not hear anything that they guaranteed 3 seasons for that show.
No,
this is the first time hearing of this.
Oh no, he said he committed to a 3-year contract. 3
Well,
year.
he committed.
He committed. That's standard.
Doesn't mean that they
Cancel. You're right, but they have a 3-year plan as far as 3 seasons, and he doesn't want to go beyond that because he could change his mind because he's an older man.
He's an older man.
He knows his limits. And he figures he can do 3 years, and 3 seasons, I should say.
He said the line must be drawn here, this far.
Exactly.
Unlike the current Bond film.
They did actually say, though, 3 seasons, but that for sure. Now, will that change if it's a huge hit and he's willing to do it? Of course it could. But for now, they're saying 3 seasons.
Well, we know it ain't going to be Doctor Who because his ass ain't running nowhere.
He's a great doctor, though, you got to admit. All right. So, anybody else have anything else they want to say about the Picard show before we move on?
I do, but it's
more.
Oh, go ahead.
So, say what you will about Star Trek Generations, but for me, it's the only TNG movie that has a cinematic feel to it, and I think that's because of John Alonzo. He was a cinematographer on Scarface, on Close Encounters of the Third Kind, on Chinatown, and I'm excited that we're going to get a TNG show that has that cinematic quality to it.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because when you look at the TOS movies, there's a grit to it that you feel like you're in space, and then like First Contact, everything looks plastic. The Baku Village and Insurrection.
They can always have and they can always have
lighting.
The lighting is a great point.
Alone was spectacular.
Yes.
And
10 forward.
Generations is an awful film, but it's a good looking film.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
So I love how they actually used the dim lighting of the star to illuminate pretty much everything, especially in Picard's.
And they do that in Discovery in Pike's Ready Room.
So I'm excited that TNG now might get that treatment.
Yeah,
I'm excited
it's not TNG.
That era, and I don't care what
not that era either. I mean,
Star Trek Picard.
You've got to realize that this is a very different show than you've seen before.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's still Picard, and now we get to see him.
Yeah, but it's not TNG.
In a film.
It's very specifically not TNG.
But it's very hard.
I'm talking about cinematography.
It's in that.
No, and I agree with you. I think that it's going to have the kind of budget TNG wished it had.
Right.
And so we're going to see, and because it's not, I don't think, going to be so space-based, you're going to be seeing a lot more opportunities.
We actually don't know that, Carlos. We don't know what the plot is. He could be out doing something where they need a ship to cart him around. We don't.
Well, yeah, but it's not the point of the show.
It's not the point of the show.
I understand that.
The point of the show.
But it could.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm just saying that we don't know the dynamics of how they're handling the show.
We do know what Patrick Stewart does not want, and he does not want to be Captain Picard on a Starfleet vessel anymore.
Right.
Nobody said
he wants to be Scotty in Relics.
He's not. He's not Captain Picard if somebody has to cart him around, though.
But that's not the point of the show, George.
No, actually, if they're going to cart him around, he's actually Professor X. But
yeah.
There's one last thing I want to point out before we do move on. That Star Trek Picard, is highly anticipated as it is, as much as everyone's been looking forward to it as soon as it was announced, it's getting the exact same kind of derision as every other Star Trek series that's come before it.
Sure as hell is.
Blowing up
with God, yes. I can't
about it left and right. It's ridiculous.
The Picard groups are already bitching. One guy in our group even said, "He looks so old," and I'm like, "What did you expect?"
Oh shit!
He is old.
He is old. What the fuck did you expect?
I find it so amusing that no matter what it is, no matter what show is announced,
they're gonna find something to bitch about.
The same amount of crap and almost the same kind of things said.
Hey,
we should title this podcast "Will Star Trek Picard Suck?" And then get people in so they can hear everybody talk.
That's actually a good point.
I don't do it all the time.
Pulling out your headset doesn't mean we can't hear you.
Yeah, I know. My kids harassed me about having a smoke. Can you fucking believe this?
As they should. As they should. Good on you guys.
Welcome to parenthood.
He opened up the window from his bedroom and yelled down at me.
Bad daddy.
Was that Harrison?
Yeah, it was Hayden. Harrison's
Hayden.
off doing a thing right now. So.
Oh, he's out late.
Yeah, he's doing this thing they call Midnight Madness at his school. I'm telling Mommy you're smoking, you said. Hey! Hold on.
The betrayal at your own loins.
Curse your sudden yet inevitable betrayal.
I wish he hadn't turned off his microphone. I would love to hear what he's saying.
How can I? Oh, here we go.
Can anybody lip read? I want to see.
He's bribing him is what's going on.
I'm trying to unmute him right now, but I can't.
I'm trying. Oh, yeah, you can force that.
You can do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know me and people playing.
And he doesn't have his headphones.
Oh, he has no idea. This shit you can do in Zoom that's pretty cool. Yeah. You can force unmute. You can force a mute. I guess not in this case.
I think you can force mute, but you can't force unmute.
No, you can. I saw that option.
That's brilliant.
That
is brilliant.
Daddy is yelling. Who changed that? Because it wasn't him. He was too busy smoking.
That was Joe.
Oh.
All right. So I wanted to bring up what I think is the most important news about the Picard series this week, and it's nothing about all the little tidbits and the shots we saw, and it's about Amazon picking it up.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I can't believe we haven't talked about that.
This is I think the most important thing of all, because what I don't think people realize is that first and foremost, Amazon, they outbid Netflix on this. This is a matter. They didn't. This is not a matter of Netflix didn't want it. Amazon outbid it, and I think that CBS.
I can't believe people made that assumption.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Again, it's this usual suspects.
Oh yeah.
We're trying to find every way they can to.
Right, and
I'll be right back. Keep going.
This says a lot of actually, because I'm sure CBS would have been. I can imagine that they're kind of at the point where they're seeing a lot of things with Netflix that we are all seeing, that we've discussed, about the fact that Netflix is losing a lot. Okay, they're losing a lot of content to the content owners who are putting it on their own services, who want exclusive control of their own properties again. We saw this with Marvel. We saw this now with the CW, with the DC Universe shows, and of course
CBS did it with Star Trek. Period.
What do you mean?
They haven't pulled Star Trek from anywhere yet.
No, they haven't pulled it.
They haven't pulled it yet, but they've still been talking like they're going to.
I doubt they will.
I doubt they will too.
What you have to look at it with Amazon. Amazon has a completely different motivation for getting the Picard show than any other streaming service would. Amazon doesn't give a shit about how many viewers are watching it. What they care about is how many more people are subscribing to Prime and shopping from them. Yeah. That's what this whole thing is about for them.
I love Prime.
Getting the Picard show is just another way to get more people buying shit from them, is what it comes down to for them.
And that's their big business.
It's smart.
So. It's very smart, and it's a smart way to go. Right.
Amazon is unique with all of these other these carriers.
Yeah.
It's one of the only ones where you can buy movies and TV a la carte. It's but play.
Well, but the other side of this as well is that when you're a Prime member, they've done the numbers on this. Prime members spend 40% more on Amazon than customers without Prime.
And by the way, they have great customers.
Exactly, Joe. Exactly.
I'm just going to plug them right here. I had a problem where they prematurely billed me for a trial for the HBO thing through Amazon, and they because the lady on the customer service said that for some reason they thought it was listed like a 1 week trial, but I went and I clicked it and it still said 30 days. So she refunded my money.
Amazon's customer service is phenomenal. Okay, right. I'm going to take a little secret about Amazon. Okay, if you want to return something, you don't want to pay for it. Just say item was not described. They never ask. They don't care. They will pay for the shipping.
She was a great.
They do not give a shit.
Great.
They're amazing for consumers without question. And it's funny because I've seen people talk about this like, well, they don't have it in Mexico. Well, they don't have it in the Netherlands. It's like, yes, they do. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, actually, Prime Video is available in more countries than
Netflix is.
Which is why
Netflix is in 190, and Amazon Prime Video is in.
Right. And what this shows me is that Amazon has already succeeded in creating brand awareness just by the announcement, creating brand awareness in those countries that didn't even know they had this available to them. They didn't even know they had Prime Video available. So now tons of people do. And that's just going to grow for them. This is a brilliant move on Amazon's part.
Is also moving into the game space.
Amazon, and the thing about it is, like, it's so funny because these other services, their content is their prime, no pun intended, their prime product. That's not what Amazon's prime product is. Their video service is really more of a loss leader in order to get you in the door to buy merchandise from them. And it's
the merchandise you were just seeing. So
right,
the Picard series is actually a brilliant move by itself because those people will buy us. We will buy. Look, how many people are wearing shirts today that are some sort of brand shirt from the series? I am. I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt. My friend over there is wearing a Starfleet shirt, and Joe's wearing a shirt from Pink Pony. But that's besides the point.
Ask me about cat hair. What's going on with that, Joe?
I think, Joe, you were going to say something earlier that was not about cat. But
I was just going to say, one thing I don't want to see in the Picard series are cameos from the team.
I don't want to see.
Why? I want to see Janeway again. Why not?
No, I do not want to see any.
I don't want to. I don't want to
hurt the show.
I don't want to see that
because it's
fan wanking.
Until the show.
Sometimes fan wanking is not a bad thing.
Until the show.
Yeah, it actually is.
Yeah,
until the show establishes itself, and then maybe. But I don't want to see. It's going to be shoehorned, and it's going to be fan service, and it's going to read.
This is why the first two. This is part of the reason why the first season, especially of TNG, sucked so badly. Was the amount of fan wink that was thrown into callbacks to old episodes. For fuck's sake, you had McCoy in the first goddamn episode. I mean,
all right, I'll concede that maybe they should wait till the second season, but I mean, there's no reason not to take advantage of the fact that you're in that time period.
There's every reason
not
to. You can bring in Worf. You could bring in.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Okay.
This is not the Star Trek reunion show, Joe.
Why not?
Patrick Stewart says he doesn't want that.
Right.
He
is an executive producer of this show.
But he did not say that specifically. He said he didn't.
Of course not. But
how many?
He's not interested in doing another regular Star Trek show.
Right.
That means you're not going to see
Carlos, but that doesn't
mean, George, if you think that they're going to put 7 of 9 into this show.
How many people that you worked with 20 years ago do you still hang out with? No, you don't. And even though they were working together 20 years ago.
Patrick Stewart still hangs out with Ian McKellen, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, but we're talking about like
different story.
A crew on a ship. Like
we're talking about Star Trek.
There's a realism to not having cameos because everybody's moved on.
Well, okay, that's like saying they're not going to have Luke in The Mandalorian. So anyways.
We're not going to go there again because...
I did that on purpose.
The point, I think, is that this show, the reason you do fan wank like that, it's like telegraphing how desperate you are.
That's for Marvel.
I will agree with you on this point, Carlos. Desperate. They did wait several years before they even brought Spock in. That was like 5 years into the show. That was season 5. So... Right. For reunification. So
they had to find establish their own credibility.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying, before the show ends.
No,
critically, it looks terrible.
For this.
Critically, it looks terrible when you have to bring in people from the old show in order to bolster your own show.
But that isn't necessarily why
terrible. It's always terrible,
to make
George.
everybody happy.
Not.
No, wait, okay, wait a minute. Whoa. Okay, wait a minute.
Don't yell, son. I'm not going to stop talking until you stop yelling.
Easy now.
That worked.
Go ahead, son. What
you guys are all over this whole fucking cameo and weird ass shit. What we have is a fucking spin-off. It's a spin-off.
Kind of.
What we have seen out of Star Trek has always been a character that is a cameo in the first couple of episodes as a handoff to say, this is Star Trek now.
Yeah. We don't need it, though.
We don't need it because we have Picard.
I agree. Why are you yelling? Why are you guys yelling? I agree. Why are you yelling?
I'm talking.
Then why are you raising the point?
Because you guys are screaming at each other over it.
Yeah, we are kind of actually.
Well, this is going to be great.
This is what's going to happen when Picard show comes out. Everybody's going to be yelling and screaming at each other.
Well, I just want to let you guys know that my little hiatus there was due to me having to go in and defend myself against Hayden again for having a cigarette.
My girlfriend, Sean, real quick, my girlfriend goes, I went off camera to go to the bathroom, and she goes, oh my God, that was so funny. What were you guys talking about that you said we can still hear you to Sean or whatever? And I said, oh, he got caught smoking his kids cigar, threatening to go to mommy, and she was laughing her ass off.
Oh, yeah, he did, too. She came out. And so, yeah. But
yikes.
He's going
to think we're a bad influence on you, Sean.
Did you slide up another one, or is that the same one from before?
No, the other one got thrown into a cup. This is a new one. So, yeah, it's like this.
You spoke faster than my girlfriend. I'm like, whoa.
My wife comes out, she goes like, he's really upset about this. I said,
I like it when your kids drive you unintelligible, Daddy.
It happens far more often than you would expect. Believe me, it's kind of a daily occurrence.
Mine does that, and he can't talk yet.
Yeah.
Get ready.
You just wait, brother.
Ready.
You wait.
Oh,
my God.
I'm not ready, but I'm stealing myself.
That's the best you can do.
Gird your loins, as they say.
Yeah,
all right,
steal yourself. That's it.
All right, I just want to end the Picard segment by saying this. My opinion, let's not go off on a tangent about this. My only point is, you guys are kind of right. I agree with you. You don't need these cameos. My argument is, and I don't want to go off on a tangent about this.
You already are.
All I'm saying is, it's not. If they
you're repeating yourself.
If they do it, to me, it doesn't hurt.
Oh,
yes.
So this is what I missed.
This, George, and we've already told you how.
I'm thinking I kind of prefer getting yelled at by Hayden. I'm glad I left.
I don't want to see my favorite characters come on screen.
I would actually like to end the this segment by finishing up what Sean had started, which is about the
running away from his kids from smoking.
That is at play here, which is so many people, especially the people who are whining and complaining about Picard and Discovery and everything, are still stuck in this notion about ratings and numbers of viewers and winning time slots and things like that. And none of those things apply anymore.
Nope.
What matters to CBS All Access is not, the number one concern is not the ratings on any given night, the way it used to be on network television. It's total subscribers and their general satisfaction and the growth.
Yep.
That's where it's going to change everything.
The fans are twice the age of the executives, DJ Jerome. That's the problem.
Yes, I mean those fans are, the complaining fans are, but what CBS All Access understands, what Amazon understands, is that you need to grow audiences. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards, and that means you need to have things that appeal to new audiences, growing audiences.
For a show about the future, we're sure stuck in the past.
Boy, oh boy, are we ever.
But there are people who are. They are.
And Carlos, I like to point this out. This on a personal. This is a completely subjective observation on my part. The fact that if you've got Amazon Prime Video, you can actually link channels. For example, I actually I got my CBS All Access subscription through Amazon. The reason I did this was very simple. Is that because CBS All Access doesn't offer 5.1 surround on their through their app. And not only that, the Amazon app is far more reliable than the CBS All Access app. So, but what I've discovered this has done, no pun intended, is that I'm spending far more time on Amazon Prime in video than I ever have been before. I'm really exploring a lot of other series that I didn't know were available. And because my go-to and most people's go-to is Netflix. But this integration of CBS All Access, the channel, into the Amazon platform is nothing but a positive for Amazon Prime Video. It's making me far more. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And this is something that Netflix really doesn't offer. I mean, I would say like 90% of my viewing was for streaming was on Netflix. Okay. And maybe 10%, because I like several of the original series on Amazon, maybe 10% was dedicated to Amazon. Now I'm at about 50-50 because I've been exposed to so much more content simply because of having the option of having the CBS All Access integration of their channel into that platform. So yeah, I mean, this is really brilliant on Amazon's part. I think this is a great thing for them. And in Amazon or in Netflix, we're going to talk about this now with the CW and Batwoman and everything else. Netflix is really that shine is coming off them. I mean, it's not nearly what it was before.
But they still produce a lot of good original programming.
Yeah, they do.
I want to say that with the loss of these business partners in the other networks, they know that they're gonna then take that money and reinvest it into new shows. So I think that you're going to see a lot of new brave content from Netflix. That's what I would do.
I don't think the problem with Netflix has ever been, since they started creating their original content, I don't think the problem has ever been the fact that they didn't create great content. The problem with Netflix is that they have no promotion of it whatsoever. It's basically promoted internally and online. So
that's not entirely true. They promote on radio. As well as, and there is some online.
What is radio?
Well.
And they get a lot of coverage in the industry press and on.
Yeah, I was going to say that they may not need it as much as others.
Netflix shows
and the rules change.
Netflix has a brand. Netflix has people look for things on Net. They seek it out on Netflix because of that brand. There's a lot of word of mouth, especially amongst the younger generations. When it comes to Netflix shows. So I don't think that looking at what they're doing and the fact that they're not advertising in a traditional way is a fair way of judging them, because
not so much
doing
here's the
things
thing.
in a traditional way.
My concern is that all those things you guys are talking about, they're ways of getting the words out about the show and everything, and the industry press coverage, of course, word of mouth, and people going to them specifically for their original program. That's great, no. But I don't think they can carry that forever. For example, like I pointed this out a few weeks ago, and there's a reason I brought this up. For the first time ever, I saw a trailer for a Netflix movie on network television. It was The Highwaymen, the story about the two Texas Rangers that hunted down Bonnie and Clyde. And it was a great trailer. It was a typical Hollywood feature film trailer, but for a Netflix show, and it was on regular TV.
And you understand why, right?
Because they need to get that audience, because they're testing the water. I'm assuming because they're testing the waters on that.
No, they're going after a very specific demographic, which is older viewers.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that, but
that's why it's not. Makes it an exception, not a rule.
All right, guys, let's change something. Sean only has like another, I'm guessing, 15 minutes.
15 minutes or so. Yeah.
Sean. Okay, so Carlos. Because Sean, I know he'll want to talk about this. You just finished Cobra Kai.
I did. I binged it over 2 days, 2 seasons in 2 days. And, I had a feeling I was going to like it. I did like it. I loved it, actually. It had a lot of nice callbacks without being fan-wanky. It subverted a lot of expectations. I think the one I liked the best was where, you know, the one kid has hurt his shoulder, and, you know, and then Daniel LaRusso does the whole,
yeah, cold compass,
and he does that, and then he goes, "Medic, is there a medic around?" And, you know, so they played with those expectations quite a bit, and it had a lot of heart to it, which I really liked. I think the format of half-hour shows really works for that kind of storytelling. They pack a lot into a half hour. I'll tell you what.
Yes, they do.
I mean, it goes fast, but
it's like the guidelines in CBS. It's like, you know, you can do a lot in 7 minutes.
You've got the right writers. Carlos, one of the things I like, actually, it's my favorite feature about the series is how incredibly self-aware of itself it is.
Yeah.
And that it plays with it. It has fun with it. And it doesn't. It's not over the top. It just plays with it, and it recognizes exactly what it is, and which keeps me coming back week to week. Well, actually, let's be honest, episode to episode over the course of a day. But that's what made it kind of so much fun, is that you could really watch this whole series. And I did like, and I especially, again, I love the perspective that they've given us of Johnny's perspective, and you know, it's like I always say hashtag Team Johnny. You know.
Yeah, I agree. And also to remind everybody that's watching, including Ross, if you haven't seen it, you can subscribe for a 30-day free trial from YouTube, right, and then cancel it. You could binge the whole thing easily within a few hours, because it's 30-minute episods. There's a total of 20 episodes, so you're looking at a total of 10 hours.
Yep.
Your time for 2 seasons, and then next season 3 is going to be free. We're going free from now on
with ads.
Right.
I have YouTube Premium. I got it primarily for Laser Team and Laser Team 2, two movies by Rooster Teeth.
So check it out.
But I haven't really dived into many of the other YouTube originals. The one that interested me before was The Thinning, which was this dystopian high school drama about if you don't meet a certain score at standardized tests, you get executed as a form of population control. But then I decided to swear it off completely when I saw who was headlining it.
Well, check out Cobra Kai, because it's...
Wait, who's headlining it?
Logan fucking Paul.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. I think he never had much cred with me to begin with, but when he appeared with Alex Jones...
I didn't even know that.
The whole Suicide Forest thing was the killer for me.
Oh, yeah. It's only gotten since then.
That whole debacle that kicked off the first Adpocalypse.
He's trying to be the Howard Stern of streaming. So
he's such a fucking douchebag.
He's not smart enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Stern is a smart guy.
Yeah, he is. Wicked smart. Yeah,
you may not like him, but he's a smart guy.
He's proven himself. So Cobra Kai, though, Ross, check it out. It's worth it. It's worth it. And then, and like I said, you could easily binge the first 2 seasons. And season 1, they're both good. And the way they ended it, season 3 is going to be good. But Carlos, what would you give it? I mean,
ad-free viewing is worth it enough, because I watch a lot of YouTube.
Oh, okay. But Carlos, you when you got done watching it, was there anything that stood out to you as far as? Did you like the way that they juxtaposed the way Daniel was trying to keep true to the legacy of Miyagi and teach his way? Remember that one scene where the kids come to learn, and he goes, "So I got a bucket of paint," and he didn't realize that they weren't going to be patient enough to understand where he's going with this. And he's just like, "Yep, you're going to do all this work for me and paint the fences," and they're just like, "Yep, fuck this." You know what I mean? What'd you think of that?
Yeah, no, I mean that made it feel very contemporary.
Yeah.
And
one of the things that you pointed out, George, is that you were pointing out the difference between Cobra Kai and
Miyagi-Do. It is Miyagi-Do, by the way.
Right, whatever. I don't care.
I understand.
But the point of that was that you were one of the things that you missed when we were talking about it's just a different idea of doing it. Well, it's more than that, because remember there's the no mercy side of Cobra Kai. That's completely different. And what's interesting about that whole thing is that towards the end of the second season, Johnny wants to distance himself from that, which is a really nice character growth on his part.
Oh yeah, I mean, he shifts the focus from to honor.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
He flips the script as Hawk did.
Yeah,
I mean, and I have to say I love the character of Hawk.
That kid is such a good actor. He did such a good job.
The fact that he's now like the bad guy, I think, is
right.
He's the new John. He's like the Johnny for the new generation. And
I mean, he's and they had that whole episode this season where in the beginning they do the flashback of him just coming home after being just brutally bullied, so down on himself, and now he's turned into the ultimate bully himself. And
the kid with the light. And my favorite episode, by the way, is the one where they're at the taco place for the day, and he ends up running into LaRusso and his wife, and they all like put their tables together. Yeah. And then they go through the whole thing about the waitress is trying not to she's listening to their orders, and both Johnny and Daniel are just like, "You're not writing this down?" And she's just like, "Nope." And then she does screw it up.
They both look at each other. Hey.
Should have wrote it down. It was a good moment.
No, I mean, I think what I like about this show is that it is clearly moving in a direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the second season, you see where that direction is, and the whole sense of parallel between Daniel and Johnny.
Exactly.
It's happening incrementally. The stakes are getting higher. But we're also seeing them come to a greater sense of understanding one another. And it's really great to see that happen in fits and starts. They make some progress, something bad happens, they have to sort of start it again.
Right.
I think what I really love about it is, Flip the Script really does tell you what this show is about.
It is.
Because Cobra Kai, which, when you saw Karate Kid, I was a kid when I wasn't a kid. I was, I think, just out of high school. When I saw it was, they were clearly the bad guys. I mean, back then, who the good guys were and who the bad guys were really clear. When
black and white.
And I love that part where Johnny is talking to, I forget who he's talking to, and he's telling it from his perspective and what, Danny LaRusso did to his world.
Right.
When he showed, and like, you really get it. Like, you understand his perspective, even if you don't agree with it. And I think they pulled that off masterfully, and they do it throughout the whole series, reflected in how,
it gets reflected the best, your example, in that scene with the training, the juxtaposed training thing. They're in, when he has them inside that truck that does the
cement truck.
Cement truck. And then at the same time, Daniel's having his daughter and Robbie train with the balancing thing on trying to stay from falling into the pond there. So it goes back and forth between the two. It shows you the two different philosophies at work, but they really weren't different philosophies. They were both the same philosophy of teamwork.
Yeah,
that's
true. That's a good point. I never thought about that.
And the other, it's funny you brought up that Mexican restaurant scene, I love that scene. What it really does, and it was blunt. It was hitting you over the head. It was kind of like Let That Be Your Last Battlefield with the black and white thing. Okay, it was kind of hitting you over the head with the fact that the reality of it is, and it took the wives and girlfriends to point this out, that you two idiots are basically the same fucking person.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
Their personalities are so similar. They're both a couple of hotheads. They both think they're always right, is what it comes down to. And it's nice. It's a nice play on that.
I'll tell you what though. If they're not getting, product placement money, a shit ton from Coors, they are missing out, because
those type of beers are, what are they called?
Nobody drinks banquet beer, for God's sake.
Banquet beer, yeah.
It's a silver bullet all the way.
Coors banquet
Nobody drinks banquet beer. It's amazing.
And that chick,
I just love it. Actually, I think it's fantastic. I grew up in Colorado, so I'm like, hey, team.
Johnny trying to learn the internet was a great. Oh my God!
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Wet T-shirt. He's like typing it. He calls the guy at the.
He discovers
the official term is hot babes.
Yeah, hot babes. And then he couldn't, when he was trying to get the internet going, he couldn't figure it out. He's like calling the pawn shop. This thing doesn't work. Well, you need your Wi-Fi. What's Wi-Fi? And then
do you remember? Okay, do you guys ever watch Family Guy? Okay, because it reminds me of the episode where Quagmire discovers there's porn on the internet, and he comes.
It was very similar, Ross. It was very.
And he walks out. He walks out of the house, and one arm is massively huge.
Wait. The best part was when he goes on a fake news site about how dinosaurs were in ancient Egypt, and he goes,
"Oh yeah," and he goes,
I knew it.
I knew it. Yes.
No, it's cute. It's definitely.
He doesn't know there's such a thing as fake news. If he sees it,
cleary-eyed, like he hasn't slept in 3 days. Like, yeah, just been watching some of that.
Well, that's kind of what happened with me in Cobra Kai, actually.
Right.
So, I mean, I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning last night. So
you couldn't stop once you started, could you?
No, because you
can't.
Like, because of the way YouTube works. So, like, one goes right into the other.
Yeah.
And, it's like you have maybe enough time to go to the bathroom, maybe.
They do have the pause button, Carlos. I mean,
yes, I made use of it. But anyway, before we go too much farther off, Ross, I have a recommendation for you for that show that you wanted to see, The Thinning. A better version of it is on Netflix also, and it's called. It just dropped last week.
Society.
Yeah.
Oh. Have you seen it yet? You've seen it, Carlos?
I binged it, man. I watched the whole thing.
I saw the trailer last night.
I currently have canceled my Netflix.
This looks good.
I got to give the guys behind Thinning the props, because every single trailer they had of it, Logan Paul was not featured once.
Yep.
I saw it wasn't until I looked at
I saw he was in it.
It wasn't until I saw the thumbnail for the video and I thought, wait a second, he looks familiar. Who's starring in this again? Oh, damn it.
Yeah. So nobody else has seen Cobra Kai yet, right? Raul, Joe, son. No.
When you get a chance, guys,
you'll enjoy it.
Good.
And like I said, you can do a 30-day free trial and then just cancel it. No,
but yeah, the Society.
I ain't gonna lie.
Which has you torrented the Society?
No.
The Society's that magic.
No. That's not the Society. No, that's the Order.
That is the Order. Which
I
also
torrented
like that.
season 2 of Cobra Kai is what I did.
Oh,
because I already did my free trial last year.
I'm house sitting in St. Louis this week, and they pay for YouTube Premium. So
right.
There you go. All right, let's move on a little bit before Sean has to go. The CW. So jumping off the previous topic, the CW has decided they're not renewing their deal with Netflix, and they are bid checking. They're bid shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't think that's that big of a deal.
For Netflix, it kind of is.
Well, it's a big deal
to Netflix,
but it was inevitable. And Netflix. I've been a big critic of Netflix, but they're not dumb, and I know they've gone through this before. They've gone through it when what was the first big what?
Stars. That was the first big drop.
Stars, yeah. I mean, Stars help. What Netflix understands is that these kinds of partnerships are really beneficial. They're mutually beneficial, but they're also temporary. Right. And it really works well for both partners. They should outgrow it.
Yeah.
And in this case, when they made that initial deal with the CW was just still a very fledgling network. And so for the CW, this was $1 billion of guaranteed money up front.
And they already still have a deal with Hulu, though. I wonder if that's changed.
Who?
Now that Disney owns all of it, we'll see.
Well, CW has always had. They not only had the Netflix.
CW hasn't been on Hulu for a long time.
Oh, it hasn't?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it had.
You have to.
A couple years ago, they were.
You have to. Not more than a couple years ago. They were at one point.
Was when I was watching my
but they've been on their. You have to use their app to watch their stuff.
Oh, all right.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look. If you just go back to what happened with Stars, the sticking point was that Netflix wanted Stars to continue, but Netflix only paid $30 million, and Stars, when it came to renewal, because of the growth of their own growth, Stars wanted $300 million, is what it comes down to. And Netflix, they're like, no, and not really that surprising. So as we get to the point where we're getting more and more OTT services, this is going to be, happen more and more often with Netflix. You know, I expect this to be. You know, from what I read is like the WB is looking to launch their own. Warner Bros. Is looking to launch their own OTT service. Yeah, eventually one day. So to include.
So the abbreviated and paired. What is OTT?
Over the top. Okay. It's as opposed to standard network or cable or right. So the you know, you're looking at everybody now wants to get in this game of having their content on their service, and I'm not really surprised by that. This is just how the entire television landscape is developing. And truthfully speaking, look, I mean, as much as it was criticized from the beginning, and I was not one of these people who criticized it, but this really all has blown up since CBS decided to make Discovery their flagship show, because with the popularity of that show for that service and what it's done to boost their subscription rate, everybody wants in on the game now. You've got Disney launching their own platform that's going to have their own original content with their big brands on it, Marvel, and Star Wars, of course. You've got, of course, the DC universe, which I thought was a fucking joke, and now I think it's a great fucking idea. It's really working out really well for them with their original programming on that. And, you know, all these different, you know, studios that own these licenses, that have this original content, they all went in on the action. And it really, like I said, if you look at how quickly it's grown, you can look at the decision of.
Did we lose him?
Wow, we lost him.
Well,
I'll pick up where he left off, which is to say that you know, as you're saying, I'm calling it the balkanization of content, and at some point this is only going to last for some time, because what we're seeing happening, and it's starting to happen, is that people are going to end up paying as much for all of these different streaming services as they used to for cable.
Yeah, basically. We already know. Yeah, everybody's always talked about how they're going to bundle it.
The numbers done on this, and it's really comparable. Like if you get HBO and Showtime and Stars and all of that, and you add, and then CBS and Netflix and Hulu and
absolutely,
everything like that,
you add it all up,
but
you add it all up, and it comes to about a cable.
The thing is with the technology, it disrupts the old systems. Therefore, you will pay less as they start to compete with each other.
Well, not only that, but they're bundling. They're bundling.
Well, we don't know that, Raul, because we
do know that. We have data that says that.
I think
the only people that are arguing against it are people who are subscribing to the model that you can't have a new distribution model without people being fucked over.
Joe, you were going to say something. What was it?
I think most folks that are complaining about having to sign up for multiple streaming services are the ones that are keeping Netflix, Prime, YouTube, Hulu,
right,
Disney all year long. We rotate based on the shows that we watch. So we have Netflix for 9 months a year. We have Hulu for 7 months a year, HBO Go for 1 month a year, and we rotate, and we still per year pay less than what we did for basic cable.
Right.
But I think the people that are complaining are the ones that are thinking, or they're signing up for these for an entire year and they're not.
I will tell you this. I think the biggest complaints you see are from people who think they're entitled to have these shows for free.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair.
I think that's exactly fair.
No, because for one thing, Joe, and I think you're being smart about it, but I think you're an outlier. That's not the way people consume media.
I agree.
People consume media in bundles. That's something the cable industry understood for decades and took advantage of. Frankly, they got too greedy, and that's why you're seeing their downfall sort of slowly happening. You know, we're watching a slow-moving train wreck when it comes to cable television these days. But the reality is that, and this is where I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, Raul, is that that yes, we're going to see increased competition, people are going to need to make choices, but you're not going to see the competition show up necessarily in terms of costs.
It will be. It will be.
There's a certain floor to which, like Disney right now is giving Disney Plus for really low. It's lower than Hulu, which they also own now.
Mm-hmm.
And are going to bundle it with Hulu, which is smart.
The bundling is the key. That's always been the key.
Well, and that's what you're seeing. That's what you're going to see happen.
Right.
You're going to see the same thing happen as happened with cable TV, which was that you saw bundling, and then the cycle begins anew. I think that the reason I disagree with you to a certain extent, Raul, is that all this content still costs a shit ton of money to produce.
Yes.
And people still only have X number of hours a day that they can consume media. Those are floors that keep it from the cost, or the monthly cost for this, from just going down and down and down and down, because they still need,
because people will act strategically. Which shows
act strategically.
They will. They will.
Because you've never seen any evidence of that ever in the way that Americans.
The market will teach them. The market will teach them, as it has always done.
A true optimist, but we have no history of people consuming media in that way.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I mean, Disney is going to dominate pretty soon, because
speaking of streaming services, I just put it on mute and I took a leak in my backyard. Just thought in case anybody cares.
Something that's easier to do when you're not wearing pants, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Those poor ducks.
Here, folks. All right, hopefully
those poor
ducks are drinking
ducks.
a little dirty lemonade. Is what's happening.
I'm gonna keep going with you guys. I gotta go pick up my.
You're gonna keep going? Is that what you metaphorically, or?
No, I'm well,
Just letting it finish. You're walking. Wow.
Anyway, Ross, watch The Society. I'd love to know what you think.
All right, I will.
Yeah, and we want to make sure you come back. Man. By the way, I want to announce something. Ross, Sunseal, myself, Raul, Michael Medeiros are going to be doing a new sideshow where we're going to be playing D&D.
Wow.
Starting next week. It's going to be a campaign. We're going to use Roll-D20 and Zoom. It's going to be fun. In the daytime, we're going to be recording this. And, so we're going to be doing like Critical Role. We're going to be doing a show where I run people through a D&D campaign where everybody's got their characters made. It's going to be fun. If you can ever do daytime, Carlos, you'd be invited.
I got to say, you as a DM is probably a lot better than as a player, because you tended to walk all over everybody as a player or alt-tab in the middle of battle.
Yeah. Ross ran a show last year where we did something similar. And I was a player.
5 minutes.
Terry Lynn was in that with us, by the way.
Any way we could. Everything completely stalled because he decided to check out a Flash trailer.
I don't remember that. I believe
what a surprise. Doesn't sound anything like George.
I know. Anyways.
Not salty about it. Nope.
No. That's for other people, Ross. That's for the little people.
But anyways, a lot of people seem interested in it, and so it's going to be Secrets of Truth as the campaign name, but it's D&D. We're going to start doing that next week. We're going to start experimenting with it, and then doing it week by week. And for people who can ever join us during the daytime that we do it, the door will be open for. I know.
Wow.
Well, So it'll be fun. So
just call it Afternoon Delight, and everyone will show up.
Everybody.
Wow.
They don't get that reference, sir. You are old.
Shut up. Lots of movies still make that reference.
What,
Hold on. Let me change his name.
I mean, I'm 48. I sort of remember what it means.
He doesn't even know what it means as he's 48. Oh, my God.
Like, now I have to Google it. Afternoon.
Oh, my God.
Have you not seen Anchorman?
Wait, you don't know that?
No, I haven't seen
George.
No, I never saw it.
Russ.
It's a band.
There's tons of references still in contemporary pop culture.
It's not in contemporary. Oh, shut up with your big words. This is not in contemporary.
All right, I'm seeing that like it's a band.
It's contemporary.
Starland vocal band Afternoon Delight.
Daytime sex.
All right, so no, I've never seen Anchorman, so just let you know.
behind.
Ross, you got a thing going back and forth.
Yeah, it's the pull string for my light in the room.
Oh, okay.
I'm in a basement.
I love basements.
That looks cool.
You have something in common with Clay Cats down there.
He's in the garage. Aren't you in the garage, Joe?
Yeah, it's my garage.
John looks like he's in the garage, too.
And my model's up there.
Sean, are you driving? Didn't you have a couple of drinks? Bad dad.
Let's not say that while we're recording.
No, I'm just kidding.
Sean is also muted, by the way.
Sean is muted.
He is muted.
He's chilling out, going to get more cigarettes.
Why? Oh, we're in his lap right now. Look at that.
We're gonna watch him die.
We're on his dash.
If there wasn't a steering wheel, we would see his junk.
Well, good to know he didn't shove his phone between
Who's
his
he
legs.
talking to? Is he singing to himself on the radio, or is he talking to us?
He's singing Afternoon Delight, clearly.
Oh, now he's trying to.
Are we going to talk about Batman?
Here's the thing. I'm 6 feet tall, 225. I can handle a couple of drinks.
All right.
Are we going to talk about Batman?
That's true. We never saw. Yeah,
016.
Yeah, it's on the list. All right, fine. We'll talk about Batman. So everybody knows that I had a little story last night that got everybody riled up about my opinion about Robert Pattinson as Batman, which, by the way, was a joke. But nobody understood that. But anyways,
I'm not sure it came across as a joke, George.
I got so many people bitching at me today.
I think it's
I'm going to quit the group.
I think you're backpedaling.
Because you're talking bad about, you're not even giving him a chance. And I'm like, dude, I'm totally joking.
I think it was hilarious that you had to explain it was a joke. You were a grown man dressed as Batman. Hello?
Wait,
that wasn't me.
With a beard.
Not just a grown man dressed as Batman. A grown man dressed as Batman in Batman underoos.
Well, they weren't underoos, but, you know.
I missed the underoos. Damn.
They weren't underoos. It has a cape.
Well, if it was underoos, there wasn't much for you to
Next time I put it on, I'll show you guys.
What I love about your Batman mask, George, is that it's only a half mask. So, like,
my girlfriend has a Batgirl version.
Of course she does, because
you're in the bedroom.
I didn't actually get it for her. She got it herself.
See, that's Afternoon Delight.
No.
And now we're reenacting Bat Radio.
Yeah. But the thing is that, okay, so Robert Pattinson, the twinkle toe guy, is Batman. Yay, who cares? He's the young Batman. It's not like he's going to hang out with Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa, because this is him in the past. No, Gadot, actually. Gadot. Who cares? The point is that, it's...
that perfectly sums up my stance on him being announced as Batman. Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? Just let him be Batman. If he's bad, we'll all go, that was shit, and we'll walk away, and we'll never pay another fucking attention to it again.
Affleck wasn't a bad Batman. He was some bad material.
He was good.
He
had a shit story.
They give him a lot of shit about it, and he didn't deserve any of it.
You know what's funny? Some of my friends, when they first announced Ben Affleck, some of my friends, there's one friend, I'm not going to say his name.
Wait. You talked over Ross, George. 1 second. George, Ross, go ahead. Say.
Is there even really a DC movie universe anymore?
No.
Yeah, kind of.
They've destroyed it because they've
There's only Aquaman and Wonder Woman.
Well, it's been disconnected.
They reference
disconnected,
but they really don't have any.
They broke out the Vaseline.
But I predict that you'll see it rise again.
Yeah, for sure.
You said the Vaseline? That's kind of weird.
Because that's actually what happened in real life with the comic books. Is each of these started out as their own thing, and it was only after they each had become well established that you got Justice League, and it organically made sense commercially as well to bring all the different fans together around this group of characters that we'd only ever seen on their own before. And I think that's what you're going to see now. They rushed into it too quickly.
Yeah, they did.
The universe. Now they've realized their mistake. They're
with a director who really didn't have a good grasp on the material. He wanted to create.
He wanted to make his own mark.
Not so much that. He wanted to create an Injustice series of movies, kind of like what the fighting games did. His intention, what was the interview he did a few weeks back? People start saying, release the Snyder Cut. There was no Snyder Cut. There was a Snyder version that didn't get made.
There was a Snyder Cut for Batman versus Superman, but not for
Well, no, yes. It was supposed to be a 3-part movie, starting with Batman versus Superman. And what was supposed to happen during Justice League is that they fail. Darkseid shows up, kills Lois Lane, Superman goes evil, and the flashback, or the vision that Batman had in Batman v Superman was supposed to come to pass.
Right.
And then the third movie was supposed to be this dystopian evil Superman ruling over...
That would have been great. I would have signed up in a heartbeat.
Maybe. But for the common movie-going audience, that's not what they would have expected.
No, not at all.
Big
it would have been a cool story if it was on its own after DC's presence in film was established.
Right. They went backwards. They tried to do the reverse of the Marvel MCU.
Well, they did. They wanted to go dark, is what they wanted to do, and nobody wants that from the damn series.
Dark aged out. Dark had its time, and it has passed. So.
It would have been cool on its own. But as a flagship for introducing moviegoers to the DC universe, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
All right. I think we covered just about everything tonight. Let's start wrapping up. So, Ross, where can people find you on social media?
Okay. Well, you can find my Facebook group, which is Live, Love, Play, on Twitter at Subsailor688 or Live, Love, Play, and on Twitch, live streaming almost every day under Live, Love, Play.
All right. And
I play turn-based tactics games like BattleTech, XCOM, you name it.
Yeah, I like watching your XCOM plays. Carlos, what about you?
Well, before I say, I'm going to back you up, George. It is Gal Gadot. The T is not silent.
Didn't I say that?
Pardon?
Didn't I say Gal Gadot?
Yeah,
he was backing up.
You're correct. I'm backing you up.
Okay. Oh, all right. I like that.
So you can find me on Twitter at cpedraza or at Aximonitor. I am on Facebook at on the Aximonitor Facebook group and the Aximonitor Facebook page, and on the web at aximonitor.com.
Cool. What about you, Raul?
You can find me on Facebook at the Real Super Geeks channel or Facebook group. My name is Raul Padron. I'm from Arizona, and I have the picture of a Peter Baelish, House Baelish mockingbird from Game of Thrones as my picture, if you want to friend me directly.
That's right. So all you ladies out there that want to go on Tinder or Grindr, find me on Facebook first.
Ladies don't go on Grindr.
They might. There's a whole...
How do you know?
They don't.
Lady.
Oh, they don't? I don't know what Grindr is. I'm just saying it.
That's obvious now.
Where's my no button when I need it?
Yeah, where's your no button?
I lost it. I gotta find it again.
Kids stole it.
Sean,
it's their no button.
Sean, where can people find you?
Okay,
and now they have a Twitter they can find you on, so go ahead with that.
Yeah, I've got my I'm active back on my Twitter account again, and I've renamed it. So now it's fucked up geek shit, and it's FU geek shit.
Family friendly.
Exactly. It's exactly what you think it is. And as soon as I'm at like 2,700 followers right now. Whoever becomes follower number 3,000, I will give them a virtual hand job in binary. So it'll be all ones and zeros.
Wow.
So that's what you get.
My guess is that you prefer to be the 1 rather than the 0.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my God! All right.
And also, you can find me at the Aximonitor Facebook group and the Real Super Geeks Facebook group as well.
Joe,
binary humor gets all.
Joe, save us. Where can we find you?
You can find me at Claycats the Raid, a fantastic video on YouTube. Also, you can find me on Amazon at Crafting with Cat Hair, a book on crafting with cat hair.
So ignore everything he just said, because every time I ask him, I forget. He never gives a real answer. Where can people? Can we really find you anywhere? Or
yeah, you can find me on the Real Super Geeks and Light Your Models.
I guess you can find me there.
Light Your Models. Give a shout out for Light Your Models.
Woo!
Also,
if you're a regular viewer of Super Geeks, today's a big deal because we got to see Joe's hair today.
Yeah, his magnificent.
That's true.
It's a magnificent set of locks, Joe.
Man crafting.
Yeah, he's got it.
Summer's coming. They can only hide that so long.
Ooh, look at that! Oh!
You are the perfect headbanger.
My panties are wet. Oh my!
You are the perfect.
Please, please.
Oh my God, son, where can people find you so we can get the hell out of here?
Hey, everybody. Do you want to interact with us? Well, we have our own Facebook group where we're all at. The Real Super Geeks. Hey, go and check us out. Maybe you'll find something you're interested in.
Oh my God, Joe. He's showing my Batman video from last night.
Yes, he is. All right, I gotta go, guys. I gotta go pick up my. I'm waiting out here. I gotta go pick up my my kid. So I'll see you guys later.
Take care, Sean.
Peace out, my friend. Okay, so you can find us, like everybody said, the Real Super Geeks on Facebook and the Real Super Geeks on YouTube, and Subspace Radio on Mondays. Subspace-radio.net. And the hell's our Twitter? It's
Breathe, George.
What the hell's our Twitter? It's a real. Hold on.
Isn't it TR Super Geeks?
No,
it's almost
no,
like
it's real.
Like he saw Robert Patterson, shirtless or something.
You're starting to sparkle, George.
I'm starting to sparkle. It's at
That's not glitter. It's sweat.
It's sweat. No. It's something else. At Geeks_TR. And there's a lot of other things
in there.
What?
There's no super in there?
No. Well, I mean, it's called.
Shouldn't we be a super?
It says TR Super Geeks, but it's at Geeks_TR.
Joe, you are a terrorist.
Yeah, Joe. I just looked at it. I know what it says.
No, you're right. It's.
But it says, like, when you read it, it says.
George dressed up as Batman reminds me of that horrible 90s Christian show, Bible Man.
Joe, what the hell?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Wait, what show?
Oh.
There was this 90s Christian TV superhero show called Bible Man.
There's a show called Bible Man?
Hold on. I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on.
Oh,
as good a concept as this sounds.
Put it on share.
Yeah,
Joe.
do the share thing.
Oh God, yes. Okay.
No, don't put share on Bible Christian TV. That's not bad.
Well, this is a family-friendly show, right?
The power of Zoom. Wait, why'd you change mine to Out of the Loop? Oh, yeah, because I couldn't find it. Okay.
Hey, at the ballpark.
Terminating the toxic tonic of disrespect.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Come on, I'm a better superhero.
I'm trying to rip Power Rangers.
I'm a better superhero than this guy. Come on now.
Hold on.
Mobile mission brand.
I totally know what software they did that in.
The boldness of
This isn't a 90s show. This is more advanced than that.
one. You know, if he would just apply himself, says everything that is.
Get a lightsaber.
Is that a lightsaber?
It's the power of Christ. Obviously. He is armed with the word of God.
His costume's not that bad. Mine's better.
Was this funded by the same church that did?
Oh my God! It had Willie Ames in it.
What Willie Ames sounds familiar. What has he done?
It ran for 10 years, you guys.
The
That's
show?
crazy.
Yes, from 1995 to 2010.
What the actual
That's
fuck?
15 years.
I've never even heard of this show.
The show ran, you guys.
How do we find this show? Is it on YouTube? Or?
Bible schools across the country ran it. It got a fair amount of views.
I've never even heard of this show.
Wow.
How the fuck did that happen?
It
had
Well,
three
I would
incarnations.
say the obvious is pretty out there, George. You
I have
didn't
to
hear
find
about
this.
it because you're not in these circles.
Okay, now I am on a mission. I'm going to watch this show. I'm going to find it somehow.
Do you really have to? Do you
I've
really?
seen enough.
Yeah.
I've seen enough.
I've seen all I need.
Imagine the Power Rangers.
He's gonna come back next week.
Let me
Bible
explain.
Man's changed my life.
So
Let me
speaking of
repeat-
hot tub time machine. No,
Oh
No.
God! I think it's time to wrap up. Thanks for
Goodbye,
continuing.
goodbye, everybody.
It's time to go.
Good night, everybody.
10 out of 10. I'm just saying.
Good night.
I'm not going to get into it, but 10
Bye.
out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Bye-bye.
Hot Tub Time Machine, 10 out of 10.
All right, cut the
Stop,
cord.
George.
All right, so now we know we've hit a new low. Last week, hey, look, last week we talked about...
Flip the switch!
Cut